that we're doing something right. We're spreading information and we're waking people up.
People get vaccinated. With more people that are vaccinated, the sooner we get over to 100%. Now,
introducing the newest in pandemic streetwear. The Vax Card Pocket Tee. Show the world you are ready to reintegrate into society. Carla.
And Britain's chief scientific advisor says that 60% of newly hospitalized COVID patients have had 2 shots of vaccine. Moments ago, the CDC raising its COVID warning for travelers to the UK to its highest level. You're now update. Kelly, I'll send it back to you.
60% of their newly hospitalized patients are fully vaccinated, Rahel. That's, wow.
It is surprising, and yet that official said that it isn't surprising, at least according to him, because as we know, the vaccines aren't fully effective, but it does seem like a high number.
These tiny overall, you have to wonder what the, what the base is that they're using. Is it a very small number of hospitalizations, or, if he's saying the new hospitalizations still?
From what I understand, new hospitalizations, but it represents a smaller portion of the larger population.
Yeah, at least for now.
Where's this all going? Will it stop here? It hasn't so far. So if you want to know what our future may look like, take a look at what is happening on the distant fringes of the Anglosphere in the formerly reasonable Australia, a country all Americans love. You're seeing footage right now of decontamination tents that have been set up in people's yards in Sydney, Australia. The Australian military is now enforcing martial law. What's the justification for this? Because 9 people died of COVID this summer. 9 people in the entire nation of Australia.
Flooded with questions. Dr. Jane Ruby is standing by. She has scientific proof from researchers who have examined the blood of uninjected people versus people who have subjected themselves to the inoculation. Contain graphene oxide, a poisonous substance. We're going to show you exactly what this is doing. People are having jab remorse. They're feeling tired, weak, mentally clouded, dizzy. What are these shots doing to people's blood?
These pictures come to us from Dr. Philippe Van Welbergen. He's a 40-year physician with experience in the UK, and he has taken it upon himself to take his patients who have come to him with complaints and illnesses from the jab that he does not recommend, and he's taken a look at their blood under a microscope in what's called a blood smear, and he has shared these pictures. When you're looking at this particular picture, it is a side-by-side same magnification under the microscope. On the left, you see healthy, normal blood from a person who has not been injected with any of these materials, any of these quote-unquote vaccines. And you see these are red blood cells. They're nice and round. They have a dark center that's very normal. What you're seeing side-by-side on the right-hand side of your screen is the blood of a blood smear from a person who took one of the Moderna shots. If you notice on the blood cells compared to the healthy ones on the left, you see they're all crumpled. They're not nice and round. Their nuclei, the middle portion looks destroyed, and they're starting to clump or aggregate to each other in a sticky fashion.
I'm sorry. Control room, can you play that soundbite again, please? Play that soundbite again. No, I heard the wrong thing. Control room, please play that soundbite again.
We're in 2 pandemics. The vaccinated individuals are now out of the pandemic. The pandemic is finished for the vaccinated individuals. The non-vaccinated individuals are still in the pandemic.
He did say that.
You are not allowed to exercise with more than 2 people. You must be wearing a mask. The local police will be issuing fines.
Such a passive headline to just throw it in there, even if he's not sure they're legal. Oh my goodness.
Vaccine? Yes. Did you get the vaccine? What? Did you get the vaccine? Oh, no, I'm not doing that. Did you get the vaccine? No. Did you get the vaccine? No. Did y'all get the vaccine?
Governor Greg Abbott announced today the state is working with FEMA to create super sites offering thousands of vaccines daily. We're talking 5,000 to 6,000 vaccinations a day. Adam Bennett.
I'm out here at the Michigan State Capitol building today in Lansing, Michigan. Look at this crowd behind me here.
The president has tested negative, I should say. Has Vice President Pence, have you taken a test? Are you going to take a test?
No. Well, I'm not taking a test for the summer reason. I have no symptoms. I have not. I'm practicing pretty good social distancing. I don't go to.
But it's hard to. It's hard to fully do it, as we.
But not everybody in the United States should take a test. I mean, I have no symptoms. There's no reason for me to take a test. If I'm in a situation where I'm at a higher risk, I will take a test. The picture you showed about the microphone. Let's get real here. I mean,
it's time for us to resist. They can't arrest all of us. They can't keep all of your kids home from school. They can't keep every government building closed, although I've got a long list of ones they might keep closed or might. We don't have to accept the mandates, lockdowns, and harmful policies of the petty tyrants and bureaucrats. We can simply say no, not again. We will make our own health choices. We will not show you a passport. We will not accept your agency's mandates or your reported moves towards a lockdown. I'm not a career politician. I practiced medicine for 33 years. I graduated from Duke Medical School. I've worked in emergency rooms. I've studied immunology and virology. And I ultimately chose to become an eye surgeon. I've been telling everyone for a year now that Dr. Fauci and other public health bureaucrats were not following the science, and I've been proven right time and time again. But I'm not the only one.
Unvaccinated employees who work for 3 major U.S. airlines won't be required to get the COVID shot. The CEOs of Southwest, American, and Delta Airlines all say their workers won't be ordered to get a vaccine, strongly encouraging team members to get vaccinated and is offering those employees an additional day off and $50. United and Frontier Airlines are requiring all workers to get a shot.
They're not planning on stopping and making this easy. We have to be brave.
Moderna has suggested that it wants to use Aussie kids, some as young as 6 months, in trials of the vaccine. Would you be on board with that? And I guess perhaps more importantly, do you think parents will be?
It would be possible to do that sort of trial here, and I have no doubt that there would be parents willing to participate in that. So, you know, I welcome that news, and we need more information. We certainly need more information on vaccinating children under 12. So
is the only way to test that is to actually put these jabs in little kids' arms?
It's just the same way as the only way to test the vaccine on adults was to put it into our arms. And, you know, these vaccines have been proven very safe in teenagers.
An 18-year-old health worker has developed blood clots after getting her COVID vaccine. The teenager says it took 5 hospital visits to be diagnosed with the potentially deadly complication.
Don't wanna be a boy, you wanna be a man. You wanna stay alive, better do what you can. So beat it. Just beat it. You have to show them that you're really not scared. You're playing with your life. This ain't no truth or dare. They'll kick you, then they beat you, then they'll tell you it's fair. So beat it. But you wanna be bad, just beat it. Beat it. Beat it. No one wants to be defeated. Showing how funky, strong is your fighter. It doesn't matter who's wrong or right, just beat it.
We need to start looking at ourselves as officers and thinking, is what I'm doing right? Now, I want to remind you that regardless of where you stand on the coronavirus, we don't have the authority to do those things to people just because a mayor or a governor tells you otherwise. I don't care if it's your sergeant or your chief of police. We don't get to violate people's constitutional rights because somebody in our chain of command tells us otherwise. It's not how this country works.
Unified School District will test students and employees weekly, regardless of vaccination status.
Welcome to Santa Monica.
These helping get our young people vaccinated. We're doubling down to get more students vaccinated as they return to school. That's why I'm echoing the president's call to action to host pop-up vaccine clinics in every school across the country.
Common Pleas Court Richard Fry tells me he started using the COVID-19 vaccine as a term of probation in his courtroom last week, but not for everyone.
For choosing personal conviction and personal health choices over complying with this brand new vaccine policy that is an obvious violation of federal laws and the Constitution. I'm not against vaccines by any stretch, just ones that are experimental, unapproved, and where the providers, hospitals, and manufacturers are shielded from liability.
Which is this door-to-door vaccination effort by the administration. I find this all very creepy. I want to know who's behind it. In addition, Dr. Leanna Wen, she's a CNN medical analyst. She was recently on CNN. Here's what she had to say about the vaccines.
What we really need to do at this point is to make vaccination the easy choice. It needs to be hard for people to remain unvaccinated. Right now, it's kind of the opposite. It's fine.
The exact same thing over.
To alter or create a fraudulent vaccination card. We'll get you the specific penalties, but they are substantial. I believe I'm on firm ground. It's up to 7 years in prison.
We are at the Banner Health Corporate Center in Phoenix, Arizona. Nurses and doctors and supporters rallying for medical freedom.
Instagram doesn't like me today. They're going to delete my account. And why is that? It's because I said the word. The government of Canada is actively and knowingly committing against the people, specifically children. The government of Canada is actively committing against children right now. Please share this message.
I'm not taking no vaccine. They tell me I should comply, but I do not know what that means.
Apparently, Australia started using military now in order to basically attack people that are hanging out in groups.
God is a prayer. It was all in their plans.
You are not God. Your will does not bend the forest or shake the mountains. And let me assure you, your will does not bow the knee of millions of my countrymen who refuse to heed your callous command. To threaten arrest on others for their own personal medical decisions is nothing short of a medical apartheid, and I will not let it stand. For if I am to cowardly bend the knee here like those on the left wish, then what is to stop you all from taking your tyranny to the rest of this country that I love? How dare anyone in this institution attempt to dictate to the patriots of my staff how they may live their lives? For one to think that because they have the title honorable attached to their name means that they may dictate what others may say and think repulses me. What makes this nation special is that in this free land, the people are the royalty. So arrest us if you will, but I will not cower and I will not bend. Madam Speaker, you have come to take away our liberties. But, Madam Speaker, in this country, you are outnumbered.
Delta variant is that those who are fully vaccinated, that it is possible for you to infect others.
No,
Tens of thousands of people are marching in Paris to protest the CB passport and mandatory vaccine.
Very, very, very intense over here in Israel. I don't know how much you're seeing, but it's terrible. It's a very, 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 very frightening situation.
Effective August 1st, the government of France is telling its people, you can no longer go shop. You can't go get food for you and your family if you don't get the jab.
The key to New York City, when you hear those words, I want you to imagine the notion that because someone's vaccinated, they can do all the amazing things that are available in this city. This is a miraculous place, literally full of wonders. And if you're vaccinated, all that's going to open up to you. You'll have the key, you can open the door. But if you're unvaccinated, unfortunately, you will not be able to participate in many things. That's the point we're trying to get across.
My husband's home back in California, and the vaccine police came to our house last night. I am not joking. They wanted to know if my husband was vaccinated and if we had somebody under the age of 12 in our house. They asked that 2 times.
What the fuck?
मेरी बात सुनो एडीसी सर आ रहे हैं despacio lo van a
to report those who aren't doing the right thing, but also to be vigilant.
Whilst it is in human nature to engage in conversation with others, to be friendly, unfortunately, this is not the time to do that. So even if you run into your next door neighbour in the shopping centre, in the Coles, whilst you're at Coles, Woolworths or Aldi or any other grocery shop, don't start up a conversation. Now is the time for minimising your interactions with others.
Wes is censoring what's going on in Colombia right now. My neighborhood. Going door to door. They are vaccinated.
Now being banned off YouTube. They are banning anything that is against the agenda. We are seeing a full right now as we speak.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis fired back at President Biden yesterday.
Why don't you do your job? Why don't you get this border secure? And until you do that, I don't want to hear a blip about COVID from you. Thank you. You're trying to restrict people, impose mandates, if you're trying to ruin their jobs and their livelihoods and their small business, if you are trying to lock people down, I am standing in your way, and I'm standing for the people of Florida.
And as for the Texas border, a McAllen City document says 7,000 migrants were released and 100 of them had tested positive for COVID.
You can say you hate me, you can call me crazy, but don't touch my...
Getting a COVID injection. Since 2020, the number of concerned Australians very unlikely to get the vaccine has increased 10%. And there's good reason for this.
You get vaccinated, otherwise I'm going to have to not take care of you anymore.
They can't do that though. It's not a mandatory thing.
Well, it's going to be...
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Open up his East Room events to the full press, like every other president.
I was running through the 6 with my walls. Yeah. What is this, y'all?
From Mountain, California. 3 men in full hazmat suits.
We have battleships coming in all over Huntington Beach, Seal Beach, and Long Beach.
Government is having this shipped across the water. Black helicopters have been following this shipment for the entire delivery. No, seriously. All the staff quit.
you. When it comes to mandatory vaccinations to retain employment or attend school, demand that they have an authorized representative present to sign the assumption of liability agreement. It's extremely important that someone signs that assumption of liability agreement, or the organization won't claim any responsibility if something were to happen to you. If you can always say that you're deferring it until the clinical trials are done in 2 years and the safety data is analyzed and available so you can exercise informed consent. Worst case scenario, let them fire you. You can always bring suit against them for wrongful termination. But forced vaccinations violate the Nuremberg War Crime Code, the Geneva Convention, the Declaration of Geneva, the UN Charter, the U.S. Constitution, the whole nine. So you don't have to be afraid. You have rights. Be prepared to
Vegans are exempt from taking the vaccine.